What's up, guys? We're back. Me, Patrick, and Brian, PB and J. We're here with an episode about Carnival Row. We all finished watching it, and we all want to talk about it. So, what's going on, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, guys?
So, Carnival Row came out a couple weeks ago on Amazon. Did it come out before or after The Boys? Was it after?
I think it's before because it came out like at the end of the month, and
Oh,
the boys came out before that, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think The Boys came out first. They came out really close together. So it's been out for a couple weeks, so we're gonna be talking spoilers, full spoilers here. So if you guys haven't seen it, you might want to watch it and then come back to us. But we're gonna go right into it. We all got on the show. Pretty funny from Comic Con. They had a great activation, offsite activation, where they rebuilt one of the scenes from the show, and they had gave us a tour, and it was full actors and everything. And it's funny because none of us knew about the show. I didn't know anything about it. I don't think you guys knew anything about it, right?
Nope.
I had no idea.
Yeah, no clue, nothing. We went through this activation, and it was so good. We all immediately were like, "Okay, when does this come out?" Because we're all gonna watch it. Um,
Yeah,
it
and the reason why we went there is because I think you were the one who asked like one of the Amazon guys working in that area like which one's the one we need to check out, right? And that's the one they told you to go to.
yeah. I got in line first, and I think Brian, you went to get coffee, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then Patrick met us in line later, and when the person who worked there, she was just walking up and down the line. There was three activations. You had Carnival Row, The Boys, and the 100. And I asked her, which one do you have to see? Which one is the must? Because I knew we could only do one. The line was way too long. We couldn't do one. She said Carnival Row, that's the best one. You got to do it. So okay, great. I was actually kind of want to see The Boys because I knew what The Boys was. I read the comics, so I was kind of want to lean to that. But she was like, no, no, go see Carnival Row, and I was like, okay, I didn't know anything about it, so I wasn't that excited to see it. But that's what she said, so we did, and man, we were in line for what, 2-3 hours at least.
Yeah, it
And
was like
Yeah,
it was
I
like
think for me it
one.
was like 15 minutes.
Yeah, we were holding it down for Patrick.
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, we got there 2 hours before they opened, right? And
Yes,
then
yes.
once we got in, we had to wait another hour for
Yeah.
the Carnival Row.
Yeah, I think we got there like at 7 a.m. It opened at 9, and then you had to kind of pick which one you wanted to see. We went to Carnival Row, and that was about another hour wait. But we get in line, and right away they gave us swag, right? Like they gave us those the cardboard wings,
Yep.
the fairy wings. They gave us a bag of money, the Gelders, right from the show,
Mm-hmm.
and cards, right? We got a human or a creature card,
Right.
and that affected your experience going through the activation. And if you were a human, you went on one side, and the cops, who were in full character, treated you like like an upstanding citizen. And then if you're a creature, they would yell at you, call you a critch, and trying to get you out of there as quick as possible. And they were really mean to you. And then we went through a little area that was kind of like a street area, and then we went into it was like an underground. What would you call it? Like a club?
It was a brothel, right?
Yeah,
Brothel,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There's a brothel, and
There was a scene. There's a scene in the show like towards the end that it looks like it was exactly how it was designed at Comic Con.
yeah, I noticed that. I forgot which episode, but yeah, they showed it, and I was like, "That's it."
Yeah, oh, yeah. I remember that too. I thought that after I saw that, I actually think they took the set and brought it over there. It was immaculate at
It was
Comic
it
Con.
was exactly the same, right? It was
Yeah,
exactly,
it was exactly the same.
and there was actors in there who were singing, and yeah, one performer was dancing at first, right? And then a singer, and then there was actors that were in character, and they would look like the creatures from the show, like fawns and fairies, and they would interact with everybody,
And they
and
never broke character. They
never
never
broke
broke character, not
character.
even once.
And um, Patrick, you're the actor guy here, so I'll let you describe how well they did, how good of a job they did.
Well, I couldn't have done it. With all those English accents they had in there, I was surprised how well they did it. Even when we first stood in line and there was a line dividing the humans from the creatures, I tried to speak to one of them about things other than Carnival Row, and he never broke character. And then when I went inside the brothel, one of the characters came into me and they took me into this little room and started speaking to me, and it was just amazing. These couldn't have been minimum wage workers. These guys were real actors. They must have done stuff. They were stage actors. I don't know where they pulled them from, but they were incredible. I was very surprised on how well they did. In fact, I'm wondering if some of the actors were in the show. I thought
Oh,
that's how well they did.
Yeah, that's possible, right? Like a background or
yeah, I didn't think about that. But there's the show. There's so many characters on the show just walking around. That's true. I didn't think about that. And
Yeah.
the one guy pulled you aside, right? And he was like in a secret room or something.
Yes. Yes. And he just spoke to me. Well, first he was really happy and jovial, and then when he took me to the room, then he started telling me these little secrets. I forgot what they were because he was whispering too a little too low for me to understand everything that he was saying. But he was telling me this place was full of magic, and that I have to get out of the town, and that the pact was going to come get me. It was incredible. And then he just sent me off on my way.
And then you try to get a selfie with him too, right?
I did take a selfie with him. I actually came. I came back to him. I'm like, excuse me, can you please take a selfie with me? And he looked at me. He looked at me and then he said, well, of course, whatever that is. I'll do it. And then he just stood by me, and then I took one really quick, and then he ran off to somebody else.
Yeah. See, one of them asked me, what was I doing on the row, and I just said, "Oh, I'm here on vacation." And she was like, "What? Like, why would you do that? You're human. You should never come to the row. That you're getting so much trouble." And I didn't really know what she's talking about. And I was like, "No, no, it's cool. I'm having a good time." And she was like, "Oh, I'll pray for you." And then she walked off. And that was pretty cool. But I saw them pulling people to the other rooms, but they didn't pull me into the other room. And then the singer was singing for a while, and then the cops broke in, right?
Right.
Yeah, and they're like, "What's going on here? This is illegal. You gotta get out of here!" And then they rush everyone out. You run outside, and that's pretty much it for the activation in there. But even when you went outside, they had the stand set up, and we could spend our money to get like ice cream and stuff and churros.
Yeah, I think we had what, 4 or 5 coins in that little bag that they gave us.
Yeah, yeah, that was really cool. Like I thought it was just like souvenirs, and then they're like, "No, come over here. You can buy a churro for one of your coins." So I was like, "Oh, dope!" And I bought it was a fruit cup, ice cream, and a churro. I think is what I got.
yeah, in the other station there was ice cream. I don't know if you got it or not, but Pat and I we got ice cream on the other side.
Yeah, and I think I still have one coin. I think I kept one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
And
I kept a coin too. You know what was crazy about this interactive experience was, I think that all of the characters were trying to tell us in their own way about the series.
uh
That's looking back at it, whatever they said, even at the beginning, the way the cops spoke to us and the creatures, it tells you about the show. And then when you went into the brothel and when he took me into the little room, he was trying to tell me what the show was about, but in character.
Right. That's cool.
Like it was really happening. Like
Right.
like this is real life what you're experiencing, and you just don't understand it. It's like I was a visitor coming to this place completely oblivious to everything, and he was trying to explain to me to be careful. That's what I got from it now after seeing the show.
Yeah, yeah. Now when the now looking back, the actors who told me like, why would I go to the road? It's dangerous. Now I get it because humans they don't go there. That's like where the creatures hang out, and if a human went there, they could get attacked or something because there's a lot of uh, xenophobia and stuff on the show. So it made sense. Now looking back, it's like, oh, I get it. I get it. That's cool.
Well, you're not supposed to go to the row if you're a human unless you want to be with a fairy, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. You go to the brothel.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was like, after going to this activation, I was like, I didn't know anything about Carnival Row, and so I had to watch it. So um, I just finished it not too long ago. It took me a little while to watch everything, and it's only 8 episodes, so it's not that long. But I enjoyed the show. I thought it was good. Uh, what'd you guys think? Did you guys like it?
I enjoyed it. I thought Orlando Bloom's character was great. He plays Rilo in the
Rycroft.
yeah, Rilo Rycroft. He's an inspector.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was totally different than any other character I've seen him. The last major character I remember him from was obviously Lord of the Rings as Legolas. Completely
Right.
different character. He grew up completely. He's a man now. In this
Yeah.
show, to me, he's a man, full grown, mature, makes
And Brian, what you think?
mistakes, but at the same time, I loved his character.
Right. No, yeah, it's I think because this character is not so confident, I guess, as Legolas, right? Legolas was like the one of the baddest elves around and stuff.
Right.
Whereas this guy, he had a lot of baggage, and as the show goes on, you figure out what it is and stuff. So he was kind of a I don't want to say broken dude, but kind of right. Like he was doing his job as an inspector, but he wasn't happy, and there was bad stuff that went down in his past, and it made I thought that same thing. I thought it made him a little more interesting than someone like Legolas, who was just cool.
Right. Right.
And
He had a history, and they revealed it bit by bit
right, yeah, as I see, like I don't want to say every episode, but every other episode there was something came up, and then I think there's one. I think episode 3 was a full flashback episode. But what was surprising to me about this show was I thought it was going to be about Orlando Bloom and Cara Delevingne's characters. I thought they were going to be the main characters of the show, and their story was going to be the main part of the show, but it really wasn't, right? There was like 4 or 5 stories going on, right?
Yes. Yeah, there are definitely 4 or 5 different stories. It's political. It's a love story. Um, they put so many interesting things into this. Um, yeah, I there are too many to name actually.
Yeah, you had the rich family, the brother and sister who were falling on hard times, right? Their parents died and they were mismanaged their money, so um I don't want to say they were kind of it sounded like they were gonna lose the house and stuff. And then a rich creature, fawn that they call Pucks, rich he moves in next door, and the sister sees an opportunity to maybe get money from this guy to help save them. So that was one of their stories. Then um the actor guy who was trying to he had his shows on the street and then they took his creatures from him who was his little actors. You had his story, and then you had the consulate who was played by Jared Harris and his son who was kind of a loser guy, right? He'd go party and stuff.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he wasn't supposed to. He was supposed to be like the next in line, and he wasn't really holding up his end there. So you had that politics, and then he seemed to be more about integrating, right, the humans and the creatures.
Right.
And then he had his rival who was totally for segregating them. And so they had a battle going on. So that's one story. Another story, and then you had a giant creature who was killing uh, people at night. He was going through and killing. He killed 2 creatures and a human, and that was Orlando Bloom was trying to investigate that, and then also at the same time reconnect with Cara Delevingne. They were lovers. And it was like 5 or 6 stories. It was getting kind of confusing at first.
But then they tied it down. They tied it all together really well at the end.
Yeah, I want to say the last 2 or 3 episodes, everything came together. So the show was a lot different than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be about Orlando Bloom, Cara Delevingne coming back together, and there was a monster, and they were trying to work together to stop the monster. That's what I thought going into it.
Mm-hmm.
Way off. I was completely off. I was way off, but it was good. It made it good because there was so many things going on. It kept you interested, and you never really got bored, right? Because it would go from one story to the next story to the next story, and it kept you going. And Brian pointed that out, right? Like three, four, couple episodes in, Brian, you were like, man, there's like a whole bunch of stories going on.
Yeah, I think that was at first that was my kind of complaint about it. It's like these stories don't intertwine with anything. It's
Hmm.
just like a separate story. It's as if I'm watching a different show whenever they talk about those different people. But you know, like you guys said, it ties in at the end. But just like when you watch it, the first 4 or 5 episodes, you know, I kept thinking like, why do they keep showing this brother sister storyline and all this other stuff? Or the mom like kidnapping her son and then doing all these things to the chancellor. But you know, later on you find out like everything ties in together. But before that, it just feels very disjointed. And I think that was some of the people like how some people felt too. Like the reviewers, they felt that there was too much going on and it wasn't really um, like the story wasn't too tight. Like it was just like all over the place. Like just a lot of things going in parallel.
Like to them, it wasn't cohesive. Like
Right.
it's a show. Okay. I did see like when the reviews came out when the show first debuted, I did see the reviews were kind of weak. So I think like IGN gave it a 7,
Mm-hmm.
7 out of 10, and I think on Rotten Tomatoes it's sitting at like 55% right now.
Yeah, that
So
doesn't even make sense. 55%. That's
yeah, and
ridiculous.
so I was kind of disappointed. I was like, oh man, I really want to watch the show from Comic Con and stuff, but the review, well, let me just watch it. And I was watching it, and I was like, no, this is pretty good. I don't know what they were what they were really complaining about. It's. I mean, was it as the same level as like Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad? No, it wasn't one of my favorite shows ever, but it was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite show. It's not a Game of Thrones, right? I mean, Game of
No.
Thrones is awesome, except for the last season. But but it was. How did you guys like the setting of the Victorianish era?
Man, I thought the production design was top notch. That looked really good.
John, do you know that Guillermo del Toro was involved with the project? I don't know if he is still, but in the beginning, he was involved with the project. So,
Yeah, yeah, and the creator, one of the creators of the show is his name's Travis Beacham, and that's his writing partner.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, they wrote like Pacific Rim together and a couple other movies. So Guillermo helped develop it like it's more than a few years ago now. It was like 4 or 5 years ago. He helped come up with the idea, and then I guess it took a little while to get going, and he had to move on. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, he has some other stuff to do, but Beecham stayed on the project. So I knew Guillermo he had a hand in it, but very, very just at the very beginning. But like other than that, I didn't know anything. I had no idea uh, what the show was about at back then, especially.
right, but you could see like the costume design and like the monster. It looks really good, right?
Yeah, that looks like some Guillermo stuff right there. But like I said, this guy Beecham is, he works with Guillermo a lot, so I'm sure his influence is rubbed off on him. And the big villain was basically it was a golem, which is just a creature. Uh, it's just a body that's controlled by someone else. And when they showed it at the end, because it's always in the shadows and stuff, right? It had the tentacles on the face and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a Guillermo style creature. But to get into the full spoilers here, what'd you guys think about when they revealed who the killer really was? Did you have an idea by that point, or was it a surprise?
no, no, it was a surprise to me.
Okay,
Not to you. I mean, until the last episode, you started to piece it together,
right.
but they still had me guessing until the end. Um, what about you guys?
Yeah, like for me, yeah, I was surprised too because I'm thinking back in the previous episodes, and I don't think they drop any hints of that. You know, like um, John and I we were talking about like Westworld before, where if you watch through the whole season and then there's a big reveal at the end, but they've been dropping hints throughout the season. You know, it's just that you didn't know about it because you didn't know what it was. But with this show, there was no ties or no like teases um, to her being the murderer. So that made it a surprise, but then it kind of makes it feel like it just happened. Like it didn't make too much sense, but at the same time, it made sense. I mean, it makes sense that like what her motive was and everything, but there was just no hints or anything like leading up to it.
Do you think it's done better that way, or do you wish that there were hints so you could figure it out easier? Or you have to leave it up to the writers to actually tell it?
It's hard, right? I mean, as a writer, if you drop too many hints, then people are going to figure out. Then then there'll be a disappointing ending. Um, I mean, like the writers for Westworld, they're amazing. They're like the best at it right now, right? Like,
Right.
Right.
so I mean, I think it would be too difficult for them to do that. Um, so like my only question is like if the main villain, the one who's doing all this is that woman, she's been learning from that witch the whole time. Like wouldn't the witch know right from the start? Like that was what was a little bit confusing to me. Um, I mean, she did say that at the end, like right before she got murdered, but I think she should have known, right? Since like all these, like how the monster was created and all these things are things that she knows about. So I mean, it didn't seem like there were other witches or anyone like that who could do something like that, right? So that should have narrowed it down from there. But
No,
I
yeah,
mean,
and
it did surprise me. Yeah.
yeah, no, I was gonna say, it did, it surprised me who it was, but it made sense. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But no, Brian, I thought the same thing because the witch was in it from the very beginning of the show, and she was like, oh, it's a creature that does this, it does this, and then the woman who was doing everything was her pupil, right? Her star
right,
pupil. It's like I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, she probably should have known that from the start. Like, oh, guys, I only know one other person who can do it, and it's her. She's standing right there.
right.
Yeah, so I did think that it didn't bother me too much. I just thought maybe it's a little plot hole you kind of gotta let go.
Yeah, no, I have no problem with it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Patrick, what are you gonna say?
Um, no, it surprised me, and I think that she should have known. But I think the problem was with this show because I enjoyed it fully. Don't get me wrong, I
Right.
love this show. I want to see the next season. I think that the issue is that it was an 8 episode miniseries. I think that if they would have expanded it to a full blown series, like 22 episodes, I think they could have done more with it. It wouldn't have been as confusing to me. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, you mean like maybe give the story a little more time to breathe and stuff?
Yes, yes. I thought within the 8 episodes they did an incredible job, but at the same time, I wish it was a little bit longer.
That last episode did kind of feel a little like wrap it up type.
Right.
Everything just kind of came together. So I can see that maybe even just a 10 episodes.
Maybe 10 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, it did because there was just so much going on. You had all this stuff going on. You had like the story with the brother and the sister. She, again, we're going to spoilers here. She falls in love with the creature, right? And they get together, and then the next episode they got to take off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they get together. Oh, they're together, and then the brother finds out right away, and he attacks them, and they got to get out. And it's like it was one episode. Like there wasn't another, just maybe another 1 or 2 episodes where you kind of get into their relationship a little bit more. Like, you had the part where she kind of went in through the side entrance. Like maybe
Right.
more of that. Maybe more of that. Them meeting up, them going out a little bit more, and then when they do have to leave, I thought it would feel a little more impactful because like
Mm-hmm.
it was just they got together. They finally get together. The brother finds out and they leave, and it was like a little quick. Like I said, like it was good. I enjoyed it, but I think just a little more time to breathe with that kind of stuff would have helped.
But I thought they did a pretty good job in developing the relationship in the time that they were given on screen. I thought they did it really well because, like, there are some movies where you're like, why are they together now? I don't. They haven't developed any type of relationship,
Right.
and the writers expect us to fall in love with this.
Yeah.
Like the development of the two, what I think is the two main characters, Kara and Orlando. You could definitely see that there was a relationship between them
Right.
because of the flashbacks, and they were in all of the each episode. So But they did a pretty decent job developing that relationship.
Yeah, it's kind of like in the new Man of Steel when Superman and Lois Lane get together in the new Man of Steel movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like they just did. Like it was almost like they got together because they were just supposed to. There was no like build up. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying, right? They're like, well, Superman and Lois Lane, they have to be together, right?
Right.
But there was no growth in the movie.
That has a lot to do, I think, with the writing. You guys know that I love Star Wars, and in Episode 4, the original Star Wars, you loved the characters. They weren't on screen that long, like Obi-Wan. You fell in love with the characters. When he died, it hurt me. But
Yeah.
like in the new Star Wars movies, they want you to fall in love with Rey and all these other characters, and I'm like, there's no backstory, there's no relationship, there was no build-up. They didn't do a good job with it at all, and I thought they did a better job in like Rogue One. I know we're not talking about Star Wars, but these are examples, and I just thought that in Carnival Row they did a pretty good job with it.
Yeah, and at the very last scene when they go into full lockdown, right? And they create a ghetto for the creatures. Like they all have to go to this one spot now.
Right.
And Orlando Bloom, who you find out through the series is he's actually half Fey, half human. And when they take Kara into the ghetto, and then he goes, and then they're like, "No, you can get out of." They just tell him to leave because he's a human, and he goes, "No, I'm a creature too," and he goes with her. Like that worked. That made sense.
Yeah, and that was like his second chance, right? Like of leaving her again, and he
Yeah,
chose to stay with her this time.
yeah. This time he was like, "No, I'm gonna, like, just f everything. I want to be with her, and just screw it." And he gave himself up, pretty much
Hey,
for her.
I got a question for you guys. Did you guys think that her friend was going to reveal to her that she told Philo to leave?
No, I don't. I never done that. Never really crossed my mind.
Oh, I was like, oh, she's going to tell her. She's going to tell her. It's going to create more drama.
It could. I mean, if it was a longer show, then yeah, that it could have gone that way. But I didn't think that either. I mean, I know that she loved her and everything, but she didn't get in the way too much to try to separate them. At
Yeah,
least
she knew they were gonna like. She's like, I don't have a shot. Like they're gonna be together, and I'm just not gonna get in the way.
You know what confused me about the show for the longest time is the regular humans from the Burke and the Pact.
Yeah, yeah, I got confused with that too. They didn't really go into like the differences between the two. It was just like Berg is good, Pact is bad. That's pretty much all they did, right?
That's it. That's why it was
Yeah.
confusing.
In in the very early episodes, it was just like, oh, the Pact attacked the creatures, and then they forced them into the Berg, but you never really got a why. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it was never like, this is why we're doing it. It just happened. They're just bad, and they messed everything up.
well, that's something they can probably build on in the next season, right? Through a series of flashbacks and stuff. Because
Yeah.
they still haven't talked about the war or anything. It's just
No.
mentioned. So
You know what part I liked was his friend, the werewolf.
yeah,
Oh,
the one
that guy
that's
that
in
was
jail. Yep.
in prison.
Yeah, I thought that was cool because he was visiting his friend in prison every day, and they didn't really say why until they had the flashback when they were in the war together, and his friend turns out is a werewolf, and he turned him in, but he turned him in, but he didn't let them execute him. So he's just alive, just living in the cell forever, and because he's a werewolf. I thought that was cool.
And what did you like that? Did you like that line? He said, "Why do you keep visiting me here?" or something like that. And then Philo said, "Because it could have easily have been me in there instead of you."
Yeah, yeah, and then when you find out that he's half creature, you're like, oh, yeah, he really could be in there.
When
Yeah,
did you figure out that Philo was Fae or half human?
you know what? I didn't figure it out until he explained it.
Yeah, same here.
I was like, oh shit. That was one of the moments where I was like, oh shit, this is cool. That was one of the twists that got me.
Well,
Okay,
so
go ahead.
Vignette keeps like saying that I like, have you told anyone about your secret? Like, so that was one thing where they they hinted something, but they didn't reveal it until it actually happened. So that was cool. But yeah, I didn't figure out that he would be like half or even partially, I mean like half Fey or anything like that.
I thought it was something during the war, like he did something
Right.
bad, like he's like actually a war criminal.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, then they had a little scene talking about when he was talking to somebody who lost their leg, and he was telling about the phantom pain, and he was like really really interested in the phantom pain, and then later it's because he says he still feels his wings,
Right.
and I was like, oh shit, that's so cool.
Yeah.
He was a baby and they cut his wings off, and I was like, ah, man, that's dope. Okay, yeah, that was one of the twists that got me. That was when I was like, okay, this show's getting me. It's getting me now.
Here's the thing: is if you go back, did they show the scars on his back before they revealed it?
I don't know. Did they reveal it when he was with in the flashback when he was with Kara? Did we know by then or no?
No, it was like later on, either in that episode or the next episode. It wasn't at that moment.
So yeah, because in that episode they have a love scene, and I'm interested to like now that you bring it up, Pat. If I go back, if he has the scars, or if they don't show him,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's actually good because at the time when they were together, like if I did see him, I might have thought they were just war wounds. I was like, oh, he got cut up during the war. I didn't know if they were his scars.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I have to go. I
I
have
might
to go
watch
back.
it again.
Yeah, and that whole episode was actually really good. That whole flashback episode.
Yeah.
You saw how that's where they met and how they fell in love together. Him and Kara, they fell in love together, and then he had to leave. And it was kind of weird too. It makes sense. I was like, why did he leave? Like, why did he leave her? That's like, yeah, I know he's human and she's Faye, but is it that bad? But now you find out that he's actually half, and it makes it even worse. Like if people find out he's half, he gets shit on just as much as they do, right?
Yep.
He had his racist boss when he found out he was half. Remember, and he was in a cell, and he was like, "I trusted you. You're a liar." Like he freaking killed somebody.
Yeah. Did you agree with that? That for years he served him, and then all of a sudden he turns on him on a dime just because he figured he'd lied to him.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that guy was. I mean, they kind of made him like a shitty person, right? He just hated all the creatures. So I kind of was like, yeah, he's a racist dude and stuff. I get it. The one that surprised me was with the girl he was hooking up with at the hotel.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that surprised me.
That
That
one,
bothered me.
yeah. When she just like when he tells her and she just kicks him out of the room immediately, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, like she was like head over heels for him, and straight up just like get the fuck out of here. Burn the guy is like she was like gonna it looked like she was gonna burn his sheets and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, she had
Yeah,
to replace him at the minimum just to
yeah,
have remove any like anything like that has to do with him. So
yeah. That one I was kind of like, nah, I don't buy that one. That was a little forced. The police chief guy, yeah, I get it, but her because she seemed more sympathetic as a character
right.
overall. Because she was kind of looked down upon. She was like they treated her as just like the help, even though she was like the manager or something, right?
I think
Yeah.
she ran the
Yeah,
play.
and
It's
yeah,
just
like
that she's like a widow, so that's why they kind of looked at her differently, I guess.
yeah, and you had like the customers were real rude to her.
Mhm.
That one rich guy, and so I thought as a character she'd be more sympathetic, but she was like called him a bastard and told him to get out. So that one I was a little like that's a little forced.
Yeah,
But
not when you love someone so much. I mean, she was really enamored with that guy.
oh yeah, she was all about it. She was like talking about having kids and stuff. But the police chief guy, I was like, that's fine. He's a piece of crap anyway. But this one, I know season two, they announced it like immediately. I think before the show even aired, they're gonna get season two going. I mean, they're already starting to work on it right now. What do you want to see more in season two, Patrick?
I want to see more of the backstory. I want to see more about the war and the beginnings.
Like
Yeah,
what caused everything? Why are
what
they?
caused everything. I want to see more of their love story, everything like that.
Yeah, I can see that. They didn't really delve into the backstory. There's a lot of room to really get into it. I want to know where the creature next door where he came from.
Right. Like his backstory, right?
Yeah, because he was whenever they asked him, he was always really vague. Like, oh, I kind of just, made $1 at a time. He wouldn't really get into it. And it's like, what, how? And then the brother really started to grill him on it, and he kind of sounded like he was a bounty hunter.
Yep.
But then that's it. He just kind of stopped right there. Like they didn't go any further. So I really want to see how did he get so rich? And like he's like super rich, right? He outbid that dude for the painting.
Yeah.
Like so, like damn, this dude's got tons of dough. Where like I want to know that. That's what I want to see.
Hey, did you get? You said he's like a bounty hunter. Did you get sort of like that? He may have been. He was a trader, obviously, right? He traded his own people. He brought them in.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what their brother was like. So you got your own guy. He was like, yeah, but then he also was like, but I got plenty of humans too.
And then he said he learned it from the humans.
Yeah, they're like every single bounty hunter was a human. So he's kind of like, is it that bad? You guys hunt your own people. And then the brother kind of backed off after that. He goes like, oh, okay. But
As soon as the sister met the puck, Agreus,
yeah,
I knew they were gonna get together.
oh yeah, yeah.
I was like, they're gonna get together. She hates him too much for them not to make that twist. There's no way.
that was immediate. That was not they didn't that wasn't subtle at all.
No.
Like, they're gonna get together. She's gonna be all reluctant, but then he's gonna win her over, and that was easy. The only thing for me was the brother. I didn't quite know what he was gonna do.
Right, because he's the one that's desperate in all this.
Yeah,
I guess she was too, but he showed it more of their situation that they're in.
Yeah, because she kind of blamed him for losing all the money. He mismanaged it, and then he was more like, "Oh, we're gonna lose the house. I need to get a loan." So I wasn't sure if he was gonna be like, "You know what? We need the money. I'm cool with this guy," or was he gonna go against him? And that's what he ended up doing. So for me, that was part of the story that I wasn't sure about. Her getting with him was 100% gonna happen.
Yeah, 100%. See.
And then you had the after the twist and stuff at the end, you had the son of the chancellor, who the good chancellor, then you have the daughter of the bad one. They come into power, and they're actually hooking up, and it turns out they're half brother, half sister. And they were like, okay, that's not too bad. they were like,
it was accepted behavior at that time.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, okay, if this is like back then, this is probably about what year do you think was if this was human history? What year do you think that is? 1800?
Yeah, about 1700s. That's what I'm guessing.
So I was like, yeah, I got to kind of put myself back then, and the first the brother was like, this is bad, and she was like, why? And then he was like, oh, I guess you're right.
Just like that.
Yeah, it was like. And I was like, okay, if I was in the 1700s and it's a half sibling that you never knew, you just met, maybe back then would have been like, I guess. Our parents are dead. They're not going to tell nobody. I was like, oh, and we were talking about this before, but, Patrick brought up, it was very Game of Thrones right there. It was just like, yeah, hey, you want to talk, kid? But overall, how did you like the acting, Patrick? What do you think? How would you rank the acting compared to other shows?
No, it was good. I had no problems. Actually, the only character that I didn't really like, it was the girl, the sister. At the beginning, I didn't like her at the beginning. I liked her towards the end, but I didn't like her at the beginning. I thought it was kind of like what is it? Period acting from her when nobody else in the cast was.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's a little different. It just didn't match the rest of the character. She's the only one in the entire show that did that. But then I started to like her afterwards.
Yeah, she was very like her accent was very like haughty, very better than everyone, but like in a really really old school way. Like, is that what you mean? Like her speech was very.
It was, you know what? She could have played in Gone with the Wind. Did you guys watch Gone with the Wind?
Oh yeah, a long time ago.
But that's what I thought that her acting was like from that period, like in that movie.
Okay.
But none of the other characters were like that. Other than that, I thought everybody was pretty much right on, perfect. I had no problems except with her at the beginning, and then she grew on me. I was like,
Right.
okay, I'll accept her character for how you did it. 'Cause I liked it after that. Um, I thought that maybe her and the brother were the weakest of all the actors.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the brother. Yeah, definitely. I didn't really care for him. I don't think I ever really cared for him the whole time. I kind of thought he was annoying.
Yeah, I wonder why they created his character that way too. It's a little
Yeah. Yeah.
rich.
I was gonna ask you. Do you think that was purposeful, or it's just the way he just delivered his lines and stuff?
No, he would have been directed to do that.
Yeah.
They wanted it that way
He
for some reason.
and his character never really developed into anything. It was just like he was kind of shitty at the beginning. He kind of stayed shitty at the end, and now he looks like he's out for vengeance, right? Because they ran from him.
Right.
And I was like, I don't really care. I don't really care about this guy. I don't really know if next season, if next season starts and they were like, oh, he drowned himself swimming, I would be like, okay, like whatever. He didn't really add or take anything away from the show.
Yeah, he's a character that you could care less about, right?
Yeah, I just never. I don't know. I never got his motivations and I don't know. It just never really stuck with me. Everyone else was cool. I got everybody, but him, I was like, eh.
Maybe it's just to have like two sides, right? Where because like there's the two brother sisters that are running the government or whatever, and then the other brother sisters are like at odds against each other. So maybe they just want a contrast between the two.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah,
Who
and
was
then
your guys' favorite character?
favorite character. You know what? I kind of like Orlando.
Yeah, that was my favorite. I
Yeah,
love.
his character, the way he did his character, you know how he was, um, like we're saying, like he was a broken character. And he was just doing his job and stuff, and he didn't come off like, like I mentioned before, he's always the cool guy, right? As like Legolas, and uh, he's always like, the main everyone, always rallies around him and stuff. Whereas here, he was more his character was very more subdued. He kind of looked like he didn't want to be there, and then you really got into his whole background with this, being half Fey and stuff, and he was just really interesting. Like I really like I just really like that character.
Yeah, would you say that this is kind of like a murder mystery with in Fantasyland in the Victorian area?
you
Yeah.
know, yeah, parts of it, yeah. Um, the only thing I wouldn't say the whole show was that, because it even though it was part of the show, it was like not the main part. Like there was so many other things going on. It didn't affect like the brother and sister and Agreus. It didn't affect them at all. It didn't affect uh, the actor. Uh, well, I guess it kind of did, right? Because the singer was his friend.
Right.
But it just didn't seem like the whole point of the show was a murder mystery. It was more just that one small part of it.
Yeah, there are too many things.
There's too many things going on. Yeah, there was. Well, I don't want to say too many because that makes it sound bad, but there's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
Well, overall, what would you guys, if you had to give? Let's say you gave it a grade, A through F. What do you think, Brian? What would you give it?
I don't want to do A through F. I'd rather give it a number score because
Go your
then
number. All right.
so I
So
would
1 through 10?
I,
1 through 10?
yeah. So I would agree with like 7.5, 7.5, which is not bad. Like
Right. No, that's good.
it always sounds like it's bad because it's like a C or something. Like, but it's not. It's good. Like I really, some of the things I pointed out that I kind of have a problem with, like it wasn't that big of a deal. I'm just pointing them out, but I do really like the show. So, yeah, I would give it a 7.
Patrick, what do you think?
Well, when I was growing up as a kid, right, and I got a C, which I think I got one C in my life, and the rest were all A's and B's, mostly A's. I got a beating, so it can't be C level for me. So I'm gonna give it like an 8.5. I really enjoyed that show.
So you're grading on a curve, Patrick. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm grading on a curve. I just wasn't allowed to get any sevens in my life.
No, yeah, I'm gonna go like with Brian. I say 7, 7.5.
Okay.
It was good, but like it was good. I liked it. It wasn't like the best show I've seen this year. I think, I think probably the best show I've seen this year was probably Chernobyl. I don't know if you guys seen that one
I haven't seen it.
on HBO. Oh, that was amazing. That's like a 10. Like that's how good that was.
Is it Game of Thrones good? Breaking Bad good?
It's so good. It's so good. It's just a 4 or 5 not issues. Like that's I always go to issues because I read comics so much. 4 to 5 episodes, and it's with Jared Harris, who was in the show as well. He's gonna win all the awards next year. So it's not like that's like 10, and then like Game of Thrones is like a 9, 8 or 9 and stuff. This is definitely below. I actually think The Boys was better. I really like The Boys, so in The Boys I'll probably give like an 8. So this is still a good show. Not bashing it at all. It's just not on the highest level, but it's good. You'll like it. It's just not for me. It's just not like where I was like obsessing over it like these other shows where I just like had to see the next episode and stuff. But Brian, you know you know what I'm saying, right?
I know. I feel exactly the same way too.
Yeah, I mean it's a good show. Like watch it. Oh, Mindhunter. That's the other one I was thinking of. Mindhunter was better. Season 2. That's like a 9 right there. So it wasn't as good as those shows, but it's still good. It's only 8 episodes, which is I think is good too. Some of these that I do hope I do kind of wish it was like 10 episodes, but 8 is fine. So it doesn't drag. I think that's a big mistake some of the other shows do. They're too many episodes. I think that really hurt the Marvel Netflix shows. They were 13.
Yeah.
And there was always 1 or 2 episodes per season that was like that would really hurt the season. But it's 8 episodes, so it's short. It gets the point across. It's a little condensed, but it's good. It's good. So I recommend it. I want to see season 2.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to season 2 also.
Yeah, one thing I like was that they decided to go with the letterbox format, so it feels like a movie, like you're watching like a movie.
I totally saw that too. The way it was widescreen, that was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Patrick, what was better, this or Veronica Mars?
Come on, dude. The best actor in the world was in Veronica Mars. Of course, Veronica Mars. What are you talking about, man?
It's not even close. What am I thinking?
That was like an 11 on a scale of 1 to 10. I think the best episodes were 4, 6, and 7. I think.
I can't quite put my finger on it. Just about the. I have to say, watching Veronica Mars, I'd never seen an episode before the seasons. I actually liked it. I watched the whole season. I was entertained by that show too.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It was good. Did you see it? You saw every episode, Brian?
No, I only saw the first one at Comic-Con.
Oh, okay.
I don't have Hulu to watch it. I'll have to watch it later.
Oh, okay.
No, I liked it. I watched it right when we got back from con, and it was funny. I thought it was funny. It was a funny show. Me and Brian totally guessed the killer though, like from the trailers. Remember?
Yeah.
No, I remember
we were half joking. We were half joking, but like, no, we were half joking, but kind of like, no, I think we're right.
Yeah. You just gave away the whole story to Brian.
No,
I didn't watch it yet.
It's fine, but it's like like Patton Oswalt's too big of an actor to be a pizza delivery guy, right? So it didn't make sense.
Yeah. We were like, when the trailer came on, and we were like, it's Patton Oswalt. And then the show kind of tried to swerve away. It tried to swerve away from him, and it came back to him. I was like, I'm right.
We were right. We were right.
But speaking of that, we'll definitely have to do a pod about Veronica Mars. We'll go over the whole season. It's a good show. It was funny. I enjoyed it, and I'm gonna be honest. I didn't think I was gonna like it. I was like, whatever. It's Veronica Mars, and I did. I like it. It was pretty funny. So we'll have to talk about that pretty soon. But I think that's all I got for Carnival Road. Anything else you guys want to jump in?
Just watch. I'm looking forward to season 2. That's it.
Yeah, Brian. Anything else?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, it was a good show, so can't wait to see more of it.
All right, then that's it for us. We'll see you guys next time, and we'll get on this Veronica Mars thing for sure. That'll be a fun one.
All right,
So,
cool.
see you guys later.
All right, later.